يا راغبا في كل علم نافع.
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. وتعلم الفقه الميسر عاملا بالشرع دون تعصب لفلان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه. أما بعد. There are some related issues when it comes to zakat. As we mentioned in the last lesson, one of them is that zakat is a form of worship, which means that once it's due, it has to be given out. A lot of the Muslims may delay it. I get people calling me saying that, Shaykh, I haven't paid my zakat for 2 years. Why? He said, well, I was busy, I was this, I was that. I didn't find people that were in need. Are you kidding me? All these needy Muslims all over the world in war-torn countries, and you don't find Muslims who are in need? It is not permissible, once it's due, that you delay it. Yes, maybe a few days, couple of days, a week. Maybe you need 5-6 days because the poor person who you want to give it to will be coming next week. That's okay. But if the poor person is not going to collect it except after 6 months, no, you can't delay it this much. Give it to someone who's in need. Or call that poor person when the zakat is due and say to him, Akhi, I have $2,000 zakat and it's in my possession and I can't transfer it to you. So would you like me to keep it for you until I come after 6 months or when you send one to pick it up? If he says, okay, then khalas. It's out of your possession to his. There's no problem in that. But once it's due, you have to give it. Some women may say that, oh, the zakat is due today, but I don't have any cash. Well, you have to go and sell some of your gold to pay your zakat, because this is a form of ibadah. However, if someone finds the need to give zakat earlier than its due time, this is permissible. So let's assume my zakat is in Ramadan. A couple of months earlier, I find that there is a family in need and that they have to pay the rent or they'll be vacated. So I give the zakat 2 months earlier than scheduled. No problem. Sometimes I find the need is way greater than the zakat of 1 year. So I may estimate and give the zakat of 2 years in advance. So by next year when the zakat is due, I'll calculate my wealth and see if it's equivalent to what I gave last year in advance or if it's not. If it's equivalent, alhamdulillah. If it's not, then I'll pay the difference. And this was done by the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, Al-Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib, who gave his zakat of 2 years in advance. It is permissible for a rich wife to give her zakat money to her poor husband. And this was done by the companions, and the Prophet ﷺ approved of it. One would argue and say, okay, if the husband is poor, once he receives the zakat, he will buy food and his wife who gave him the zakat will eat from it. There's no problem in that because the ownership was transferred. And This was done by the wife of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with her, who gave her zakat to the instruction and command of the Prophet ﷺ to her own husband, who said to her, the Prophet said to her, your husband and your child, your sons, are more deserving that you give the zakat to them. What happens if a person dies before he gives zakat? So let's assume my zakat date was due in the 1st of Ramadan, and I didn't give it up or get it off, take it and give it away on the 1st of Ramadan, and I so happened to die 2 weeks later in the middle of the Ramadan. What should be done? In this case, before dividing the wealth to the heirs, they must calculate the zakat and give it off, because they know that it was due and I did not pay it on time. And this has to be done because it's a debt to Allah Azza wa Jal. Even if the heirs say, no, we want our wealth, we don't care about our father's sin or delay in paying the zakat, we want our money. They said, no, you're not entitled. It's like any debt to any debtor. They have to receive their right first before we distribute the inheritance. But if the due date of zakat was not due, then there is no calculation of zakat. Khalas. The money's possession and ownership has been transferred before the zakat was due, so it is not calculated. Whatever is given to the government other than the zakat funding is not considered to be zakat. So I may pay the state or the government specific fees, such as taxations, electricity bill, utility bills, and the likes. I cannot deduct this from zakat and say, well, this is on behalf of the zakat. No, this doesn't work like this. Zakat has to be given to the 8 categories as we've mentioned previously. Now, zakat also is not related to sanity or to puberty, because it's a percentage that should be taken from the wealth regardless of who owns the wealth. So if we have an orphan who did not reach the age of puberty, or we have someone who's a minor but has wealth, or someone who's insane yet he has wealth, we have to take zakat from it. And this is the most authentic opinion, because it is Allah's right in such wealth, and it has to be taken, even if the individual that owns it is not accountable, yet it has to be taken. Sometimes we may have funds collected for charity and for building a masjid or for helping others, and this fund or this money collected has no specific owner. So if I give money from my side as a donation to this fund, and this fund deals with helping those who are in need to get married, or it's a fund that builds masjids or hospitals, no one possesses this wealth anymore. I gave charity, it is out of my possession, it's not mine anymore. In this case, such wealth has no zakat in it, because it doesn't have any owner of it. Now, if a person dies before the time of the zakat is due, there is no zakat on that wealth. And if he dies before paying the zakat, though it was due, then even if the heirs don't get a penny, because the zakat would consume, and this is hypothetical, but this is a debt that has to be given back and spent because Allah mandated it. And as per the hadith, the Prophet said, ﷺ, pay any debt that is owed to Allah, for Allah is most deserving that any debt owed to Him to be paid. So this is what the heirs should do, even if they would get nothing. And likewise, as we've stated before, the money that is collected for da'wah, for charity purposes, that does not have an owner, then this money is not zakatable, and this money is for the service of the Muslims, and hence we don't give zakat from it. Can we give zakat to charity fields, such as building masjids or hospitals, or charity organization to build roads and the likes? And this is not permissible. Though some jurors, scholars said that this is part of fi sabilillah. As we said, sabilillah is, according to the majority of scholars, is only for jihad, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد.
يا راغبا في كل علم نافع.
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. وتعلم الفقه الميسر عاملا بالشرع دون تعصب لفلان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.